Afternoon all. I'm with my good friend Chris, Chess Explained from ChessCube. The World Championship game was today, Chris. Did you had a quick look at it today?
Yeah, I watched the live broadcast a bit without any comments though. I just saw the bear moves, but only quickly. So I sort of need to look at the game as we go along. So
Yeah.
I only looked a bit at the positions near the end. So yeah, let's go.
So they're about my age, so I'm with both of them. I'm glad that they're still, people around 40 are still able to reach the top to play for the World Championship. That's really cool. It's not just the youngsters just yet. The 40-year-olds still have something to say. So
Yeah, well, it won't be us to have a word there.
so
But,
so Anand playing white played d4. Actually, Anand had a reputation of being extremely quick, didn't he, for many years? Really, like, very, very quick as a grandmaster.
yeah, he really blitzed his games when he was very young, but with with the years and experience, he sort of toned down a bit. He's always he's still a pretty quick player. He doesn't get into huge time scrambles, but it's not like he's blitzing his games anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so Gelfand playing black played knight f6, and then we saw c4. No surprise there.
Yeah, first of all, the first move by Anand actually is a pretty important thing because, well, he's always been an e4 player, and but for the World Championship matches, somehow he switched to d4, and he played d4 against Kramnik and also against Topalov, mixing in the odd c4 and knight f3, but basically he didn't play e4.
That's a good point.
And, yeah, it looks like he doesn't really want to face the Petrov or the Naidorf for whatever reason. I expected d4 anyway, so this wasn't a surprise to me. But what Gelfand played, of course, was a huge surprise.
All right, doesn't usually play knight f6.
Yeah, okay, knight f6 he might play, but he never played the Grunfeld.
All right, never before. It's a bit of a surprise then for the match, the Grunfeld.
Yeah.
I actually had my first fluency over the weekend. I managed to lose to a Grunfeld in less than 20 moves, which I will put on YouTube at some point. But I know the Grunfeld is a very dangerous weapon sometimes. And interestingly, I regret now, because we have the Grunfeld with d5. So if it was bishop g7, we'd go into King's Indian territory. So here black plays d5. Maybe this next move, CD, is the best move. I played bishop g5, but CD remains the best, most popular move, doesn't it? C takes d5.
Yeah, it's certainly the main line that can lead to different sub-variations. If people ask me what to play against the Grunfeld, I always say if you want to play for an advantage, you need to take on d5 or play the Russian system with knight f3 and queen b3. This is actually what I mainly recommend if people ask me, because it's not so well known. Maybe another interesting idea, actually, just to show quickly. I know you play the Samish versus the King's Indian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can go on move 3. You can go f3 also.
Oh yeah, Majnu, he's got a YouTube channel. He's mentioned f3. That's he's had an attractive win with this.
No, on move 3. On move 3.
Oh, sorry, move 3. Sorry, pardon me. Knight c3. Sorry, c4, g6.
Yeah, no,
move 3
f3
here.
Yeah, this is quite interesting. It sort of threatens e4 to get into to the King's Indian Samish, and black, if he wants to play Grunfeld style, he needs to go d5, and then you can play e4, and he doesn't have a knight to take on c3.
That's a brilliant idea. I did enjoy playing the Samish. It never really occurred to me to play f3. It's not the sort of thing that you sort of routinely, I don't know, you sometimes go a bit to a certain move point and then start thinking. I didn't really think of f3. That's an interesting weapon. I think Majnu's f3 was a little bit later, actually. I'm not sure it was there.
I think this is possible, but I think then black has got c5 on move 4. Move 4, f3, you get c5. Okay, but I think we don't want to get into an opening video here, but I just want to mention, if you play the Samish, then f3 is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Black has got some offbeat tries against this, but well, usually people just play their normal setup, and then you get something different than the standard Grunfeld. Okay, but Anand took on d5, and I think what he played here actually looked to me like a sort of backup variation. But let's see what happens. e4, of course, and we've got take on c3 and bishop g7.
Yeah.
This is all very normal, and okay, now this position white has got many options. The sharpest move maybe, or maybe the main move is bishop c4.
Yeah, do you remember the endless Karpov-Kasparov matches were bishop c4 and knight e2?
Yeah, Karpov switched between this setup, bishop c4, and also bishop e3. Those two setups he mainly favored. But Anand now goes knight f3 and Gelfand c5,
Yeah.
which is normal. And here white usually tries to fight for an advantage with rook b1,
Right.
which is actually one of Gelfand's pet lines, so to say. He was a huge he still is maybe a huge expert of this line, and had many great games in the past. If you want to look at the absolutely brilliant game, search for Gelfand versus Shirov. Shirov on the black side, I think from 1996 or 97, and with a rook sacrifice, but in a brilliant attacking game. So Gelfand actually would be on the white side, would be no surprise, but on the black side it is, yeah. So okay, but Anand played bishop b5 check, and this is the kind of move you usually see in games where white, to be honest, just plays for a draw, because it's a very drawish line, and it's quite surprising that he's coming up with this. Maybe this is just speculation, of course, but maybe the team beforehand just said, okay, if Gelfand comes up with this surprise and plays a Grunfeld, then we play some sort of safe line in the first game, and if he does it again, then we have got something prepared for this. This is often a policy I think they come up with, because it's it's a pretty practical decision. It wasn't very likely that he plays a Grunfeld, but you need to have some idea what to do.
Blimey. So it's the equivalent of the exchange French against the Grunfeld, trying to get rid of the dynamism or something.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad.
But, actually, on knight c6 here, which Gelfand played, I think this is the most principal move. Anand came up with d5, which is, of course, a bit sharper.
What's going on here with the exchange shack? Shall we have a quick look then? Bishop takes c3.
Yeah, we should have.
Bishop d2.
It looks like white gets the material back pretty much instantly, because the rook hangs now.
There's no question of that. You just take here. That's a disaster. So if you castle, then is it bishop h6 or?
And bishop h6, maybe knight d4, but you can just take on c6 with the pawn.
Right. And
you've got two pieces, and you've got bishop h6 coming also. This looks like a winning position.
A winning position. A winning position.
What else?
Yes, sorry. You've got two pieces. Of course, you've got two pieces. White's two up here. Two bishop h6 is coming. I don't see a move really. What do you play now? f6, because of bishop h6 was the threat, and then whatever you can play, whatever. It's just close to winning. Yeah. Okay, that's to be avoided then. Yeah, that's keeping that pin on and all sorts. Yeah. So what was played was actually queen a5. Yeah,
this brings up the counter threat on the b5 bishop.
Yep.
And and also c3 is now hanging with a huge check now, with the queen check winning the rook. So white maybe must play rook b1. I'm not sure if he's got something else.
He doesn't want to do anything else like bishop c6. That's a bit poxy, isn't it, to play bishop takes c6? That wouldn't get anything to do this, would it?
I think if you look at the game, rook b1, black plays a6, and I think he needs to maybe. So you basically gain a tempo with rook b1. Black is still in this pin, so he cannot really do anything but play a6, I think. Otherwise, you just take the knight.
So,
Bishop on c3, just bishop d2, and
yes, of course, and then you'd be winning the c6 knight. So a6 virtually looks forced.
yeah, so it wins the tempo. Rook b1. Of course, it leaves a2 hanging, but it's an half-open file, or an open file even. Yeah, okay, now I think white needs to take, I would say.
He can't. If he retreated the bishop, then yeah, the check looks pretty dangerous now. Maybe with the bishop, he can't retreat this bishop. There's no way he just take the bishop.
Yeah, you can take with the bishop and then play knight d4 even, I think.
Yeah, you get that square, that d4 square after that, winning that pawn.
Yeah, it's pretty forced, I guess.
So now white leaves 2 pawns hanging by just castling, but of course black hasn't castled yet. Can't be too greedy, but he is a little bit of a computer-like move, winning the a2 pawn. But why not? He won the a2 pawn here. Do you think that's the best move? Queen takes a2.
Yeah, well, I didn't do any analysis, so it's most likely that Gelfand had a much deeper look at this than I do now. But well, it's at least it's a principled move. If you get the a pawn.
Yeah, the passed a pawn. You've generated the passed a pawn, but there is this question about this. I think I peeked into there's an official stream commentary of Nigel Short actually today, and he was talking about this pawn maybe being a bit dangerous, and he likes white because white's bishop could sometimes come out and maybe support this pawn. It could be dangerous.
Yeah.
And it could revolve around this pawn on c6. There's okay. So should we go with the game? Queen takes a2. Which attacks the rook and also putting pressure on d5. So white responded now with rook b2 gaining a tempo, and the queen.
Yeah, this is technically a novelty. I was looking it up quickly because I just wanted to know how far we've been on treaded ground here. So there was a game, some amateur game actually, with bishop e3 instead of rook b2, but I'm not sure if maybe Anand already was playing on its own here. But hard to say offhand what's better here. I think if you consider what he played in the game, he just went for a completely different kind of plan, which actually is the one that I also thought of when I saw this position. I saw this position, and I thought White's idea wouldn't be to take on c6, but to play d6. What he actually did, but
yeah, that looks more effective. If you take on c6 here, what would be an adequate move for black? Do you think? Although this pawn looks as though it might be dangerous, black's got the target c3. Can black just castle or?
Yeah, maybe taking on c3 is too greedy, most likely. Yeah. You always need to consider this if black can grab c3.
But instead, yeah, he played a move which forces black to play an awkward-looking but resourceful move. Now he plays d6, so it looks as though black can't castle because of d takes e7 now. Or no, just d7 actually. Just d7 would win the bishop, wouldn't it? d7 wins the bishop.
This wins material
because there's no pin on the queen because you're actually gonna pin the rook here, so you can't take.
Yeah, you can just take. Yeah.
And there's no escape for the bishop, so that actually d7. So no castling.
I think what he played maybe is the only move. Could be.
Well, there's also ed maybe to consider break. No, that's giving the queen in attacking c6.
Yeah.
So he plays rook a7. Yeah. Rook a7. Okay, it stops d7.
Yeah, this looks a bit awkward, of course, but first idea would be like rook b8 here, pinning the bishop.
Yeah.
But maybe black can just castle.
Sorry, pardon me, castle. And now, this isn't that dangerous, is it? Because d7 you can just take now, I assume.
Yeah, the funny rook on a7 is doing a good job here.
Yeah. D takes e, you could maybe just take.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not obvious how white should continue. You always have to keep in mind after d6, white needs to get something, yeah, pretty concrete going. He's a pawn down, and black's got two bishops. So if you don't get anything real here, it can get ugly quickly. Also with the a pawn. So bishop g5. What he played makes a lot of sense, I think. Black maybe needs to take now on d6.
Yes.
Not sure if he's got some alternative. And then the game continuation looks pretty logical.
So queen takes d6. And now the queen is encouraged to take that c6 pawn with this next move, rook d7. So
yeah, this is interesting now. Just quickly, does black have any alternative? Only checking quickly here. So move like, I don't know, maybe I'm blundering here. Queen c7, yeah, you can just take c5, yeah, okay.
Queen c7, let's have a quick look to show. Queen takes c5, yeah, and it's still stopping black from castling. Yeah.
Right, and it's no obvious way to enable castling, so okay, this is awful, okay. So he just returned the pawn, and
it's only double pawns anyway. They're a bit miserable in any case.
Yeah, they're not worth much.
Also, this bishop could be liberated now on this diagonal. As soon as that pawn is removed, there could be potentially use on that diagonal, but I don't think that happens in the game. But the pawn on c6 is taken now, and now we see a humble retreat with queen c7. But black has the two bishops here, so why not? He's got the passed a pawn, which I think Nigel Short commented could be dangerous in the endgame, but we don't see this pawn. Well, sorry, I don't mean to give the game away. That pawn, unfortunately, doesn't turn out to be a major hero, even though it's a passed pawn here, and black's got the bishop pair. Doesn't it look as though black's done very, very well here in this game, actually, to get this position? It looks as though he's solved most of the concerns.
Yeah, if white, as I said, doesn't get anything concrete here, or the only compensation for the bishop pair here is that well, white has two pawn islands, those four and 1, and black has got 3, so it's got a slightly weaker pawn structure.
Yeah.
And I think in the game continuation it pretty much gets exchanged down to almost nothing. So if you go step by step here, I think it doesn't make any sense for white to avoid the queen trade here. A move like queen a4 just doesn't amount to much.
Black could just castle, I suppose. Castle.
Yeah, you can castle, but maybe you can also take c3. I'm a greedy person. What can I do? Yeah, you need to.
Yeah.
Once this pawn is gone, well, what does white do?
Yeah, you're right. There's time to take it. I think you can just return back, maybe.
Maybe rook c2. It could be a problem. c5 could be a problem. Then I don't know, rook c1 or something, like pressure on c5 and then c8. Maybe taking is too greedy. I'm not sure. But
mind you, there's a back row issue here, so black could castle. Isn't there a back row issue with? Yeah, oh no, there isn't. Sorry, hang on. The queen's on. The queen's on d1. Forget that. Okay, no.
Yeah, but still, this line makes sense. Castles, rook c5, rook c5, and queen b7 or whatever. You need to, or b8. Queen b8. You can play rook c8. Yeah.
Oh, rook c8. Yeah, that's a good tactic there. Because actually, after rook c8, that bishop's protecting c1 anyway. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this could rebound. Your materialism could be punished there if you take on c3.
Oh, yeah, but queen b7, it wasn't clear. It looked okay, but okay, black can also castle instead of taking. The c3 pawn would stay weakness. So if you castle, white needs to think what about he's gonna do with this pawn, and. Yeah, queen a4 I think is pointless. At this point I think white will just wants to exchange queens and trade this off to a draw.
Yeah.
It's very hard to imagine how you could play for win here.
Yeah. So he did that. The queens came off. to the disappointment of the spectators expecting a fantastic attacking game. No, they weren't. I'm sure they weren't. So bishop f4 now to attack that rook, and okay, so the rook actually just challenged this b rook, which looks fairly logical. And Anand refused the exchange. If he does take here, then he's putting that bishop on a nice diagonal.
Yeah, and then you've got 2 pawns hanging, c3 and d4.
Yeah, that's not very pleasant. The glaze of the bishop is look at the bishops look quite dangerous here.
Yeah, but this also shows that black doesn't have any problems if white needs to play a very un-rook-like move. Rook c2. Rook c2 is not a move you want to play really.
There's no rook b1 here. You just take because the bishop's protecting here. You can just move the king off the check, so that's not a problem. So yeah, so he plays rook c2, which doesn't look like an amazingly aggressive position for white now. The Groomfield bishop looks nice. So here, black finally castled, and so white, though with castling, there is this fork basically with the bishop, which is used bishop d6. Okay, so
I think the only question here for the remaining, I think we've got only 3 moves remaining in the game. The only question is, but I think we won't solve it now by just quickly looking at it. If black had some opportunity here to get out more of this, but I think also from a match strategy point of view, I think he was quite content with an easy draw. So
yeah, with black, you can try and get the advantage with white usually.
Yeah, it's always nice, I think, to have a problem-free black draw. And if Gelfand would have seen something really great, he would have gone for it. But I'm not sure if there is something.
This looks logical to counter-attack this pawn anyway, and so that actually makes white avoid taking here. He actually defends his e4 pawn here instead of taking on c5. So he plays knight d2. So I suppose taking on c5 might be asking for trouble, given he didn't play it. I assume it's asking for trouble.
Yeah, this looks like something black would play on. This he wouldn't draw, I think.
Because he's knocking out a centre pawn here. Is that the important thing, to knock out a centre pawn and have that past a pawn? Yeah,
you exchanged a potentially protected pawn on e4. e4 can always be protected by f3. So white's got those 2 pawn islands, and now black has got rid black's weakness on c5, which is the only real weakness, is now gone.
Yeah.
For potentially a protected pawn on e4. So this is just pure bishop pair with the passed a pawn.
Yeah.
And this is tough.
Yeah. So instead, Anand plays another defensive move, but it's important to maintain that centre pawn. Knight d2, and here more pressure was put on the e4 pawn with f5, with the help of that bishop, which he's got, which white hasn't got, the counterpart bishop f5. So white doesn't want to take on f5. That just liberates the bishop and again solves lots of problems. And that's horrendous for similar reasons. In fact, black could then maybe even play c4 later. Sorry, not c.
I think this just fails tactically. I think rook c1, rook d7. We've got issues here.
Yeah, no, that's not an option. Okay, so f3. It doesn't want to play e5 either. F3, virtually forced. And now black continues. F takes e4, and white doesn't want the isolated pawn, so he plays knight takes e4. Why not have a nice knight there? And here black, but it does run into this pin, bishop f5. And here they agreed a draw. So could white have played on? White's happy. They're both happy with a draw here.
Yeah, I think it's well, I don't see how white could have played on, but I'm not quite sure what is the real drawing line here now. maybe rook a2 or something, trying to exchange c3 for c4 a6 or something. Just the first idea that came to mind, but
You might exchange of prisoners. Nimzovich talks about sides exchanging weaknesses off. Exchange of prisoners. It was this in my system, this term.
yeah,
Rook
yeah.
a2.
Black would play something like takes on e4, takes on c3, and it's just nothing left. Yeah.
Yeah. If we take on c5 here, otherwise there might be bishop d4 check, and then take on e4. There's no mate running rook f8. No, there's not much.
Yeah, this is really a complete draw. So I don't think you can sorry blame the players in any way to have agreed a premature draw or something. Sometimes you really ask yourself, well, why don't they play on? It's an interesting position, but maybe this just gets traded down. You know, the c pawn is also pretty much gone, so black needs to black c pawn, I mean. So black needs to get something in return. So the weaknesses maybe exchange off here completely. It looked like a pretty logical draw to me, but just by quickly looking at the game.
Yeah, should we do a quick overview and summary then? Just a quick.
Yeah, it will be very interesting what will happen in game 3, of course. What Anand will play if he continues to play d4 and Gelfand really plays the Grunfeld in more than one game. Well, you know, one thing which is different from World Championship matches, for instance, in the 60s, 70s, or 80s, is that it's just 12 games. This is
it's very short, different. Isn't it? Very short match.
It is pretty short, and this also means you need to consider that people just have 6 black games to defend. So you could actually make up some sort of strategy that you play, let's say, 3 defenses, and each one you only play twice, or you play 4 different defenses. You could pretty much avoid lots of preparation. You're being a moving target. You do this in a 24 game match or a 30 game match or whatever. There, if you look at this match in '84 of Karpov Kasparov, this was all Queen's Gambit all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what can you do? They played 48 games, and you're sort of out of. You cannot switch around all the time and surprise. So, but in this short match, maybe it's possible. It's possible that Gelfand only will play the Grunfeld once or twice and return to his usual openings in game 3. But Anand now needs to, or the team needs to spend 2 or 3 days now before the next white game to have something against the Grunfeld. He cannot play this line again. So
let's quickly just briefly whiz through it again. So it was a mainline Grunfeld with knight f3, maybe a little bit of a surprising move, but as you say, maybe geared up for a draw with this bishop b5 check and this d5. It's a forcing continuation, really, out of the opening, isn't it? It's quite a forcing line.
I think the draw line actually isn't d5, but I think bishop e3 or something. I remember some game where actually Kramnik played the Grunfeld to surprise his opponent, and he played this line and pretty much exchanged off the whole board. But well, okay, but this didn't happen in the game. This was actually it wasn't completely unambitious by White. He sacrificed a pawn and tried this d6.
Yeah.
Let's go to it.
So this d6, it started to look a bit scary after d6. I remember the time thinking, this is scary. But this resourceful rook a7 seems totally appropriate for the position then.
I think Gelfand is used to stuff like this in the night off, grabbing some pawn on the side and then making strange rook moves to keep the position together.
Well, there's a famous Fischer Tau where Tau was it someone else played rook a7. It was the idea of rook a7 I've seen in Sicilians anyway. So that's interesting. Bishop g5. Okay, so then we saw Queen invited in to munch one of the double pawns. Then the queens came off, and then we have a kind of situation where both sides have these weaknesses that are picked on, and and you know, he's played, you know, a couple of, you know, seemingly passive moves to defend his pawns, but that was necessary to, and here they agree to draw. Okay, so maybe there'll be a lot more excitement tomorrow. Who knows? It'll be a brilliant attacking game or something tomorrow.
Yeah, of course, it will be interesting to see what Gelfand comes up with as white. I think what's remarkable is really that you played the Grunfeld. It's quite remarkable and shows that yeah, he's willing to step out of his comfort zone to really have a shot at this title. He could have played the Queen's Gambit or some rather stodgy opening that he usually plays against d4. He plays Queen's Gambit declined and those kind of things. But well, he's come up with a surprise, and this match won't be an easy run for Anand, I think, unless he scores a quick win now. Let's say with white in game 2, and I don't think Gelfand could return from being down, but if he can keep the match open a couple of games, let's say 3 or 4 draws, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay, all right. I hope everyone on YouTube has got something from this commentary. Thanks, Chris. Okay, so we'll upload this to our respective channels. So Kingscrusher and Chess Explained channels should be there soon. Okay, all right. Hope some exciting games to come. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, talk to you soon. I think for game 2 we'll do something similar. Yeah?
Excellent.
Okay.
Thanks very much.